Hi, Tiffany here with Hot Mom's Dinner Club. Today I'm making a pumpkin cheesecake. A pumpkin cheesecake with Gingersnap Crust topped with maple whipped cream. So this is one of my favorite cheesecakes to make. I've actually made it on several occasions, but I haven't made it for a couple of years. So I'm super excited to serve it for this year's Thanksgiving dinner. Pumpkin cheesecake, Gingersnap Crust, and maple whipped cream. Now to get started on your cheesecake, you're gonna want to get your cream cheese softening. So this is 32 ounces of cream cheese, which is four 8-ounce packages. I like to go ahead and pull it all out, get it out of the package and into the bowl to soften. To me, it comes out of the package and away from the foil very easily while it's chilled. If it softens in the package, to me, it seems a little harder to get out. So pull it out, get it in your bowl, a large bowl, so you can start mixing it. Then you'll want to get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Now it's time to start on a cheesecake. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our crust. In a spring-form pan, you want to kind of lightly spray it. You've got a lot of butter in your crust, so it's probably really not going to stick. Just to err on the cautious side, you can just lightly spray that. Next, I've got my stick and a half of melted butter here. Now, if you're familiar with Ginger Snap cookies, you know that they've got a little bit of spice. They've got all that ginger in there. So, to kind of cut the ginger snaps, I usually do a 50-50 mix of a cinnamon graham cracker and ginger snap. So in here, I have a cup and a half of ginger snaps crumbled up and a cup and a half of the cinnamon graham crackers crumbled up. So that makes a total of 3 cups. Then I actually threw in just a touch more because I want to reserve some for the top of the crust, just to kind of decorate with whenever it's cool right before you serve it. So I'm just going to take a couple spoonfuls out just to decorate the top of the cheesecake right before we serve it, okay? So I've got my melted butter. I'm going to add in all the crumbs. And I also have my 2/3 cups of sugar here. I'm going to mix all that together and start making the crust. So now we've got our crust all pressed out here. This right here is one of the hardest parts of this cheesecake. It just takes a little bit of time. There's really no easy way to do it. Just takes time to get it pressed in there. You do want to press it down in there very firmly so it makes a nice crust for you. We're going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes, pretty much while we mix the rest of our custard items here together to make the cheesecake filling. So we're going to get that in the oven and we're going to start with our filling. So now we're going to make our cheesecake filling. So I already started kind of working our cream cheese just to get a little bit lighter and fluffier. The next thing I'm going to do is going to add in my sugar. And I'm going to mix that well. I've got a mix of white and dark brown sugar here. I like to put the dark brown sugar in there, especially because we're doing the ginger snap crust and the maple whipped cream. It just gives it a little bit extra earthiness to go with the rest of those flavors. After that, I'm going to add in my eggs. I've got 3 eggs here. Always crack your eggs separate. That way you don't run the risk of getting shell into your cheesecake. If you get any shell in here, you can pick it out easier than if you get it in here and you can't find it or don't even notice it. So we got our eggs there. We got some heavy cream. We got some vanilla extract. We've got our pumpkin puree. And then we've got our pumpkin pie spice. All these measurements will be on the website, so you can check everything out on that. For the pumpkin pie spice, I actually made my own because I didn't have any pumpkin pie spice, but yet I had all the spices that go into making pumpkin pie spice. So I have here a teaspoon of cinnamon, 3/4 each teaspoon of ground ginger and ground nutmeg, and then a 1/4 teaspoon each of allspice and ground cloves. And that makes my pumpkin pie spice. If you have pumpkin pie spice, or if you don't have all of these, just buy pumpkin pie spice, and then you'll just need a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. But this is just basically a tablespoon of homemade pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to mix up all of our ingredients here, get it in the cheesecake, and we'll get that cheesecake in the oven. so our cheesecake crust pre-baked for about 10 minutes. Now we're going to add all of this into it. As you notice, I scraped my sides while I was doing that. That way I got all the pieces of cream cheese off the sides, and they got all in there incorporated very well, so everything is nice and smooth here. So basically I'm going to put it in here. I've got the oven still at 350 degrees. Now to bake your cheesecake, you can go to a lot of trouble with a water bath, etc. I like to keep mine very simple. I bake it for 1 hour at 350 degrees, then turn off the oven and just let it set in the oven for another hour. Go ahead and set your timer for both hours because you do not want to forget your cheesecake is in the oven. During the holidays, we can have a lot on our minds, and I haven't forgotten one yet, but I could easily see it happen. Also, because of all the butter that you're going to have in your crust, you should bake the cheesecake with a sheet pan underneath of it in case your butter leaks through your springform pan. Once it comes out of the oven, you can let it sit out to cool at room temperature, and then you'll want to refrigerate it overnight before topping it with your whipped cream. You'll just kind of want to do this at the very end. You're decorating so your ginger snaps don't get soggy, and also that your cheesecake is completely cooled so your whipped cream won't melt when you top it. So we'll go ahead and get our whipped cream made, and then we'll just top it and decorate it right before we serve it. This is going to be our maple whipped cream. This is just like a lot of the other whipped creams I've done on a lot of the other videos. Basic ratio of the 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, a pinch of salt in there. When this gets to soft peaks, we'll add in our 3/4 cup of sifted powdered sugar. This one we're going to flavor with the maple extract, okay? We've done vanilla extract, we've done lime flavored. This one is going to be maple flavored whipped cream. Just a couple teaspoons of the maple flavoring in this when it gets whipped. So we're going to go ahead and get this made. That way it's made, and then we'll decorate the pumpkin cheesecake right before we serve it. Now this maple whipped cream that I'm making here, this is delicious on just straight pumpkin pie, straight pecan pie, even like pancakes or French toast. So remember this one, maple whipped cream, it is delicious. The cheesecake chilled overnight. We did a ring of rosettes with the maple whipped cream around the edge. Then we placed the ginger snap cookies snugly in the whipped cream with a sprinkle of some of the extra crumbs around the top. A fall holiday masterpiece right here. Thanks for joining me, Hot Mom's Dinner Club.